Welcome to another episode of Am I the Asshole? Today we're going to be going through a scenario. We have our guest Liban here. Incredible. So let's get right into it. So, am I the asshole for prioritizing work during Ramadan instead of going to the mosque every night? Off initial, what do you guys think? Yes or no?
What do you think?
You got to provide. You got to make it happen for your people.
Okay.
So I get the conflicting point, but we'll see what he says. What do you say?
I don't think it's the be all end all.
Yeah.
Like when I think about it, I think about like you said, you got to provide for your family,
Yeah.
and then, like, imagine a person is like, hey, I need this paycheck.
Yeah.
I need to go work late hours.
Yeah.
I need to do that. Like, at the end of the day, especially I think, like, God is so forgiving, and
For
God is
sure.
gonna be like, this person is doing all that he needs to do to put food on the table.
Okay.
That what they're doing right now, and there's other ways too. You don't have to go to the mosque
yeah,
to
yeah.
pray. You know what I'm saying?
100%, there's
Pray at
other
home,
ways.
all that kind of stuff. So like, it's obviously still good to go, but I would say the person, like, you got to look at the circumstance, right? The situation of where that person's at in life, if it's necessary. I'm somebody that gets stuck in work where I'm like,
I totally agree.
like, there's a basketball game, I got to go cover this, I got to cover that, and it's like all the homies are going to pray, that kind of stuff. So it's like trying to figure out the balance, and it's like, it's tough, you know? It's like
Yeah.
having your priorities set, and then also just like also doing like what's important at the end of the
Facts.
day, you know?
Let me give you more context on it. Let me give you more context, and then we can make a final decision. So the story goes as I'm 33, married, 4 kids, 8, 6, 4, and 2. My house is loud and messy, and honestly, the best thing in my life. I've always seen myself as a provider first. My dad drilled that into me. You take care of your family, you don't complain. Right before Ramadan, my boss handed me a major project, the kind that usually goes to people above me. He said, "This is your moment." Not officially, but it was clear. If I deliver, I move up. The timing couldn't have been worse. Ramadan started and my routine flipped. I'm fasting, praying all five, trying to read Quran during my lunch in my car. But every night when it's time for iftar and tarawih, my phone is buzzing. My boss knows I'm fasting. He says things like, "I respect the man," and then schedule a 9:15 p.m. call.
Damn.
Right before Tarawih, or he'll message me, "Quick turnaround on this tonight if possible." And I don't say no. Because if I'm being honest, part of me is scared. I've been average at work for years, replaceable. This is the first time I feel like I matter. My wife has started noticing. I'll be at the table at iftar, but mentally I'm drafting emails. My 8-year-old waited for me to come to the mosque with him the first week. I told him maybe tomorrow. I've said that like 10 times now. Last night, my wife said, "Ramadan comes once a year and the kids are watching you." That messed with me because I'm trying. I haven't missed a fast. I pray. I give sadaqah. I'm not out partying. I'm working for them. But there's this voice in my head that says maybe I'm hiding behind providing because it feels good to finally be needed somewhere outside of my house. And there's another voice saying risk doesn't come from my boss. My parents heard I haven't been going to the mosque much and basically implied that I'm letting dunya distract me. I feel like I'm being pulled in two different directions. If I pull back at work, I might lose this opportunity. If I keep going like this, I'm missing Ramadan with my kids. Am I the asshole for choosing to grind this out at work during Ramadan instead of being at the mosque every night with my family? Context has been provided. What are your thoughts?
You
Mukhtar?
want to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
So the confliction in this story is your belief in God compared to what's in front of you. Because if you go to the masajid, you're told that God will provide if you do right by Him. So long term, that's what he has to come to a conclusion by, because his environment coming up, he was told work's most important, providing with your family, don't let a paycheck go by, as you mentioned. He may need that. We don't know his status in his household. That notch up may be another 10, 20 grand that could make a difference. But I am on that page of, especially in this where additional work, it's not even it's the basic work is done. You're making additional effort to make appease the people above you. I say it's gonna come around if you do your duties by God, because that's the tough position that we're in the West, and you don't want to piss off the wrong people. But I think it's gonna come around.
That's a good point, because it's like you don't you always have this feeling like, what does my boss think of me, right? You're always thinking about that. But brother, hearing that whole situation, I'm like, brother, if you get to the mosque, say alhamdulillah, because like that whole you got 2-3 kids, 6-4, did you say?
Yeah, 14.
Man,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine having
Yeah.
kids like that, and you got to deal with all that kind of stuff. If you get to the mosque, man, I feel like people should be clapping for you when you get there. You
There's
know,
so much
like,
going on in
this
your
is
life.
so much going on in your life.
Yeah.
Your boss sounds like he's an asshole, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
100%.
So it's like you're dealing with all that kind of stuff. You get there, it's a win.
Yeah.
I would take it. I think that's a win. Getting there.
100%.
So if you don't, I feel like there's gonna be other opportunities, right? Like in this moment in your life, it's so stressful, and God is forgiven at the end of the day.
For
I think
sure.
that's what we're all taught, right? So,
Totally.
yeah, get to the mosque. I'm standing up. I'm giving a standing ovation. I'm giving a clear standing ovation. You come to the mosque, I'm seeing you. I'm saying, I know what it took, brother. I know it took you a minute to get here. I know the work that you put in, man. Congratulations.
But you know the part that messed me up in the story? It was because I come from a family in which my dad, I seen him work 12 hours.
Yeah.
And I know there were days in which he all he could think about was going to sleep, because he was so exhausted, right? And subhanAllah, similar to the story, my father enlisted in me the idea of you have to provide for your family, And something the guy said in the story was he was average at work, if not replaceable. So having this project come along, it could have been the thing that kept him like as a permanent employee, Having said that, he could have been able to provide for his family for the future, And that always sticks in my head. And then the thing that really messed me up, because up until then I was like, yo, it is what it is. It's just a job, you can do what you want. But the thing that really messed with me was his son was like, Abba, when are we going?
Yeah.
He like you don't know how the kids are sponges when they're kids. You don't know how much they're impacted by what they see, especially his son who's looking for a leader in a man. Like everything that the father does, I want to copy. Because if I see usually your dad is Superman at that age, right? So if I see my dad going to work all this time and not really caring about the deen and the Quran and Ramadan and
And
fasting.
you're telling him tomorrow.
Yeah, then I'm and technically, although what I'm doing is providing for my family, he may take that as, is the religion that important? So that I'm conflicted here. So truth be told, in that situation, I think I would bite the bullet, because I understand that the job is important and providing for my family is important. I understand that, but I think the legacy in this world that I leave far greater than anything I do at work is the impact I have on my kids. So if I told my kid that work is more important than praying, than going to the masajid, than fasting, although even if I'm providing for him, but what type of human being am I supporting? What type of human being am I helping develop in the right direction? Because I could put food on the table, I can do all of this, and I feel like in our community, that's what fathers do. But they also don't help with the development aspect, but they kind of leave that to the mom. Like, just, I bring the money, you do what you got to do, So in that situation, I even though it would be hard, I think I would reject the project and actually focus on my family and the development of what needs to go. And I'm tiptoeing because I know how important the project is and keeping my job. But at the end of the day, if everything was on like a lever, I think the family and development of my family would be more important. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you agree?
No, I agree, but that's something that has been reinstated to me, is that the part I mentioned earlier about coming around, and especially if you're telling your child it's okay to delay things, to push it back, especially things as important as salah, religion.
Yeah.
My dad still calls me to this day. We don't live in the same house, but he says, "Did you pray? Did you wake up for the fajr? Did you wake up? Did you pray Isha? Even at work, did you make sure you got what's necessary in?" Because the impact and even the discipline around going to Isha, during the Maghrib and Fajr on day to day, then getting the extra Taraweeh and Tahajjud, and it's extra discipline and extra focus. And people ask, I'm sure they ask you at work all the time, how do you guys do that? How do you guys fast?
Yeah.
You guys don't eat all day? I had that conversation a couple days ago, and just it's something that we unlock, and we're able to unlock this discipline and this focus once a year. And if you're willing to, and you're able to leave that imprint on other people,
Yeah.
that's something important. So yeah, it's more than just the missed project.
I will say, I'm out here saying that I would leave the project. Historically, I've done the exact opposite. And it's like, it's easy to say, yo, forget the project, you know.
I left projects for less.
But like in the past, because I don't have a family at the moment that I'm taking care of, so I'm always been about my grind.
That's
you
the
know?
point, because like I think about
Yeah.
you're told like you have to grind so much
Yeah.
until you receive something, until
Facts.
you get this full time, like you're covering this for a living. That situation is different because it's like you have kids, right?
100%.
So you want to like leave a foundation.
Facts.
You want to leave a blueprint. I'm right now in this mindset of like hustle, hustle, hustle. Like everything is like you kind of think of it sometimes second, right? Which you shouldn't. But then when you have kids, it's like you want to leave this generation behind of like, and you want to leave an example.
Yeah.
So I think in that situation where it's like when you have kids, you're not thinking about you anymore.
100%.
Thinking about like what's best for them and how you want them to carry themselves after you leave this earth, right?
Facts.
So, yeah, I see that point. When it comes to that, I'm like, yeah, when you have a project like that, when you're on your own, it's like
You're chilling.
kind of just thinking
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm chilling. I don't have no responsibilities, but you want to set the blueprint, right?
Exactly.
For when you leave.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just there's a different level of pressure knowing that there's somebody looking down on me, following in my footsteps, compared to when I'm on my own, no family, no nothing, and I'm just grinding for the future. And it's still something I battle every day. Where it's kind of like I know I should be better praying on time.
Yeah.
I know there are times where prayers leave me, and I feel so terrible, you know. But it's in today's Western world, it's really hard to just tell your boss who booked 1,000 meetings back to back, like, yo, can I take a little bit of time? You know, not everybody is as forgiving or as accepting, you know? So I get where this guy is coming from. And at the same time, I understand the battle that he's facing. But when it comes to a family dynamic, I think that's when I would take a step back and be like, my family is more important to me than whatever opportunity may present itself at work.
When are you gonna have kids?
That's a question for another time. You never know. You know how expensive it is these days, bro? In Toronto?
Too expensive.
Yeah, but it's like, you don't know. But that's why, having said that, I really think it's different when it's marriage and non-marriage.
Yeah.
Kids, non-kids.
Yeah.
Because depending on I'm gonna be a different person, you know? But yeah. But ultimately, I will say that I am trying to become a better Muslim by being better with the different practice I'm doing. But there are times where the grind gets in the middle of that. Yeah. And I'm sure you know, so there's sometimes a call you have to take at a certain time that may take 3 hours.
Yeah, and it's like this is the only time this person can speak to you.
Exactly.
And it's like, what can you do? It's like, I have to get this time. Editors are like, we can't get it to print. You know, it's like certain stuff where it's like, it's tough. You gotta like balance that. You know,
100%. But let's round out the episode. Do you think this person is in the wrong?
No, he's thinking of his kids in the long play. I don't think he's wrong. He just needs to get his priorities right.
Okay. Do you think?
no, I think he just needs to probably like structure things better.
Yeah.
And like just like not think of like, hey, I'm like think about your kids.
Yeah.
But then also have a conversation with your boss. Like it's not hard. I feel like to have a conversation with your boss, be like, hey, this is the circumstance that I'm in. I want to get this project done. And yeah, but also like you got kids now. Think about
That's
them
more
first.
important.
That's more
That's more
important.
important.
When I got kids, I'm like, I might not be traveling much. So
Oh,
it's like
man.
that's like you gotta like everything you gotta dedicate to them.
100%. And I agree with the sentiment that you made, not the asshole. So let us know in the comments, what do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Let us know, because we're conflicted here. You know, we're three guys who are on the journey of greatness and hustling, but what do you guys think in the comments? Let us know. Take it easy. Peace.